All right, everybody. This will be a relatively shorterish meeting. I have a couple items I need to go through with you. Michael has some stuff, and Alicia has some stuff. So the first topic, there's been some confusion with errors lately. The errors count on the publication date, not the day that they were designed. So keep that in mind when uh, the benchmarks come out. You know, it's the publication date, not the day you designed it. So that's how that works. Uh, and also, each error on a page counts as an error. So if you have one page and there's 3 errors on it, you're going to get 3 error forms. And I hope you don't get 3 error forms for one page because that will cost you your bonus. Okay. Next is formatting reviews. I've seen this on some the Nation Plus pages, and Duluth runs a lot of like theater reviews. Run those as columns because they're basically just opinion pieces. Just they happen to be on something part of popular culture instead of politics. But from this point forward, headlight, drop cap, features text. That's how reviews should be formatted going forward. There's also been some confusion on Robin Hubner's stories. She only gets the column sig and feature treatment for the forum. All other pages treated as a straight news story. I know FNS doesn't put her byline and byline 2 in there. We'll touch base with them to make sure that is like that going forward. But just a reminder, only on forum pages does it get that treatment for her stories. And that's because that's what the forum wants. And another reminder, the metros, when you're doing the scoreboard for each property, we need their local calendar and TV listings in a box, and run the metro calendar script and the sports TV script for those. I think metro calendar formats it the same as the sports on TV, but it never hurts just to double check. Just please start doing that. The only paper that doesn't do that right now is the forum because they put it the left hand of the page, and that's a battle for another day with us. So, please do that, because if you do not put the local schedule and TV listings in the box like we have asked, that'll be considered an error, and you'll get dinged for that. That's what I had. Michael?
We are going to make a quick amendment to the style guide. It's come up a couple times for Q&As that we have. It's a little bit confusing, so we're going to make a quick change. When you're doing a Q&A for a centerpiece on any cover, it's okay to use a head bold. That's usually the way our covers look. That fits within our normal standard. So I'm going to make sure that is listed correctly on the style guide after this meeting. If it's A3, if it's B12, we still want that to be headlight. But for a centerpiece, if it works best with your design to have it as a bold head, that's something that is okay going forward. Any questions, feel free to let me know. That's it for me.
All right, I've got a few updates regarding the pod and some changes that we are making. One big change we're going to do is that we have talked to Modulist, and we are going to start a spreadsheet where they are going to list all of the paid content. The spreadsheet will be organized by date published. So, for example, recently we missed Mitchell Milestones in their Saturday paper. And I think it's fair to say that part of the reason that milestones get missed is because, we get the email for it on Wednesday and don't necessarily follow it through. So one, the pod is making sure that on all the templates, it says where there's paid content. So on Saturday Mitchell page, it's going to say milestones, and then it'll have X's. So the pod editor is responsible for filling that out. But if you see that there is paid content listed with X's, make sure that you ask the pod editor, because if it is on that budget and you didn't ask about it, that's going to come up as an error. And of course, we don't want you to do that, but also just we really want to make sure that we are getting all the paid content in. We have missed a lot of it recently, and it harms our company financially. But more than that, it harms the reputation of our papers in their communities. Somebody is never going to forget the time that the Mitchell Daily Republic forgot to run grandma's anniversary announcement, that it was supposed to be in this day so that people could come to the party at her nursing home, and it didn't run. And people will hold that grudge absolutely forever. So it really hurts our papers when that happens. So we're working to make sure the system is as foolproof as possible. So with this spreadsheet, instead of having to try to find an email from Wednesday, it's going to have Saturday, and then it'll have Mitchell. And then you'll be able to see 0 milestones, or that it has 2 anniversaries and a birthday, or whatever it is. The pod people will also have access to that. We're hoping having everything in one place and sorted by pub date is just going to help us streamline things and just make it easier to keep track of everything. For the first few weeks, we are going to continue having the emails for all of it, just so that we've got a backup in case, something's missing or there's confusing information or anything like that. But we're hoping that this sheet makes things easier, and then we can end the emails because this will be working better, making sure that we're not missing content. And then also just, so you don't have to get as many emails. So working on that. Later tonight, I will email out a new content deadlines list. A number of our content deadlines for our properties are changing. So that information will be in the email that I'll send out. I'm going to update. It'll be our same content deadline stock that we use now. So if you've got that bookmark, you don't have to bookmark anything new. But a bunch of the deadlines will be updated, and I will note in that email exactly what's updating. One of the big things to note that is updating is that Mitchell is going to have its news content in to the pod much earlier in the day. And with that, they also want to make sure that they don't have to answer questions late in the day. So their news deadline in page track is going to be changed to 6 p.m. So just know that starting next week, if you have Mitchell pages, the deadline on them for news is going to be earlier. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. We're working on Perm right now has an interim editor that wants pages done earlier. Some of you may have noticed that on Tuesday that we're trying to get Perm out by 4:30, which seemed to work well this Tuesday. We'll see how that keeps going in the future. But for at least the next few weeks, Perm is going to be earlier. So just keep an eye on that as well. If there's other changes to the actual page track deadline, I'll make sure that you all are being notified of that as well, keeping you updated on things. Any questions on that or anything to do with the pod? We are short a few people in the pod. Dave Rubel is retiring at the end of this month, and Rob Jeffries has chosen to resign from the pod, and that was effective immediately. So he's already gone. I've talked to a few people already, and I've got interviews tomorrow and on Monday. So by the end of next week, I'm hoping that we will have the staffing figured out, new people planned, start dates, all that kind of stuff. Paula asks if Perm is going to the pod at all. Yes, Perm is going to the pod. Perm is in the Central Minnesota group, which is the next group that we're planning to take on to the pod. But we are just taking a break for a few weeks in bringing more properties onto the pod, simply because, with 3 open positions, that's essentially a quarter of the pod staff. And so we don't want to take on more than we can reasonably handle and maintain the quality and the workflow. We don't want you all to have to wait for things because we don't have the number of people that we need. So Perm will be going to the pod. They'll be going to the pod soon-ish, but I don't have an exact date right now. Anything else? All right. Well, as always, you know where to find me if you have questions, any issues, especially with this pod stuff. Like I said, we're figuring it out as we go. Please let me know how it's going for you and what stuff comes up. We've addressed a lot of issues already. And if there's more that we need to address, we're going to keep doing it. So thank you all. Happy October, by the way. It's officially October. So I trust you're all wearing skeleton makeup and that you're just not turning your cameras on because you don't want me to be jealous. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.